You know that quiet moment right before bed when the room is dark and it feels like your thoughts are screaming louder than ever? That's when it hits you. The weird guilt, the heavy kind, the one that tells you, I ruin everything. If you've ever felt like no one should love you because you're too much, this is for you only. You don't hate yourself because of something recent. You hate yourself because one person made you feel like love was a test, and you kept failing. You kept apologizing for emotions, for crying, for needing, for texting twice. They didn't say it out loud, but you could feel it. You were always too sensitive, too jealous, too hard to love. But here's the part nobody says. Hating yourself isn't sadness, it's punishment. It's the version of you that's trying to beat yourself to the punch before someone else can. Because if you say, I'm broken first, no one else gets to say it. That's how you survive love that makes you doubt your worth. You started treating self love like an apology. You say you're healing, but in your head, healing means being easier to love next time. But what if I told you that easier to love just means more silent, more agreeable, more numb? To mini story. I once spent 6 months pretending I was over them, smiling, posting, dating, but every night I rehearsed everything I ever did wrong. I thought if I hated myself enough, I'd finally change. But the truth? All I did was learn how to hide pain better. Plot twist. You don't hate who you are. You hate the version of you that was shaped around someone who couldn't handle your softness. And now softness feels like weakness, but it isn't. It's your power. If you find yourself looking in the mirror and cringing, not at your looks, but at yourself, this is for you. You're not ugly. You're just exhausted from believing your own mind's voice that's been trained to hurt you before anyone else can. You hate how you overthink everything, right? But you only do that because someone once made you feel like your thoughts weren't safe. They gaslit your feelings so many times, now you question every emotion before you feel it. You don't trust your own reactions anymore. You text your friends saying, am I overreacting? Because deep down, you're still scared of being too much. You're not even healing for yourself. You're healing for the next person, hoping they'll finally love you the right way. But here's what no one tells you. If you keep building your self-worth on how lovable you appear to someone else, you'll always feel disposable when they leave. Self-compassion isn't soft, it's sharp. It cuts the tie between your identity and someone else's ability to understand you. Mini story. I once sent a 3-paragraph apology to someone after they ghosted me because I thought I did something wrong. Turns out they were just using me to fill space. But I blamed myself for weeks, and I thought healing was about becoming someone they would have stayed with. That's not healing, that's performing. Plot twist. You think you miss them, but you really miss how they made you feel wanted for a second. Even if that want was fake, even if it came with conditions, it's not them. It's the illusion of being enough that you keep chasing. If you have a heart that forgives fast, cries secretly, and still wants love after everything, this is for you only. You hate yourself because deep down, you still want them to come back. And you hate that you want that, because they weren't even good to you. But here's the trap no one talks about. The longer you stay angry at yourself, the longer you stay connected to their voice. That voice that criticized you in silence, with distance, with lack, with just enough affection to keep you hopeful. You want closure? Then stop editing yourself like they're still watching. You don't need to become the cool ex who's unfazed. You don't need to act like you're above it. What you need is to stop twisting your self-worth into a performance review. You keep replaying what you should have said, how you should have reacted, how you should have walked away sooner. But every time you do that, you're measuring your value through the lens of someone who was never even looking at the real you. Mini story. I told someone once, I just want to be easy to love, and they looked at me like that was pathetic. I thought that moment would destroy me, but now I realize that being easy to love was never my problem. Finding someone who could hold my kind of love without dropping it, that's the real test. Plot twist. Self-hate grows in silence. It feeds on pretending you're okay. But the minute you say, actually, I'm still hurt, it starts to lose power. You don't need to move on. You need to move into the parts of yourself you keep exiling to seem strong. Have you ever laid next to someone who made you feel lonelier than when you were actually alone? This is for you, because you keep blaming yourself for staying. like loyalty was a crime you committed against yourself. You hate yourself for what you allowed. But you didn't stay because you were weak. You stayed because you thought love meant waiting until they saw your worth. And that hope, that silent, desperate hope, that's what you punish yourself for. But here's the truth no one talks about. You're not mad because they left. You're mad because you didn't. You're mad that you kept defending them to your friends. You're mad that your voice got smaller every week just to keep peace. You're mad that you saw red flags and called them bad timing. That you were healing them. That your love would be enough. And now every time someone is nice to you, you flinch. Not because you're broken, but because kindness feels suspicious after betrayal. You're not cold, you're wounded. You learn to put armor over places where soft used to live. To mini story. I once told someone everything about me, my mistakes, my fears, my childhood. And they used those things against me when they got bored. They didn't leave me. They left with pieces of me. And I hated myself for handing them over so easily. Plot twist. The parts of you they didn't love weren't flaws. They were the parts that scared them. Not because they were bad, but because they were honest. You've always been real, and real makes fake people uncomfortable. That's not your fault. Your guilt is for survivors only. People who didn't just get heartbroken, they blame themselves for it too. If that's you, this is for you. Because you don't just miss them. You miss the version of yourself that believed love was safe. You hate that version now. Because they were too trusting, too available, too raw. But that version of you, they were pure. And you turned on them. You started hating your younger self for not knowing better. But here's what no one told you. Grow isn't hating who you used to be. It's protecting them now. You're older, wiser, and your job is to make sure that version of you never gets erased again. You keep saying you want someone who loves the real you, but you hide the real you because you've learned that love often comes with an expiration date. So here's the only thing I want you to remember. Loving yourself isn't a bath bomb and a day off. It's standing in front of your reflection and not flinching. It's letting someone compliment you and not deflect. It's saying, I still feel broken, and letting that be okay. Tom mini story. I once looked at a photo of myself from a year ago and whispered, I'm sorry. Sorry for every time I believed I deserved the bare minimum. Sorry for treating silence like closure. Sorry for calling disrespect a lesson. I thought healing was a transformation. But really, it was just forgiveness of me. Plot twist. You think healing will make you perfect, but healing doesn't make you lovable. You've always been lovable. Healing just makes you remember.